What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the aptly titled 7th studio album by the dream pop and indie duo Beach House. They've been active since 2004, and this new release is simply titled 7. Now, while the title might be simple, there's actually some underlying themes that the band expressed in an open letter to fans. When they announced the record, they said that yes, 7 does mean it's the title of the album, but they also chose 7 because it kinda looks like 1, depending on how you write your 1s and 7s. They said that this would be a new start for them in a way, a renaissance age, if you will, that they're entering into. And I can definitely see that with the music. They opened themselves up and wanted to not just limit themselves to what they could do in a live setting in terms of replicating it with instruments, synthesizers, whatever. They actually went into the studio and just decided to make whatever they wanted to make, and they recorded a lot in home studios. And as a result, we get a record that has the highs of some of their past records, but also the lows of a more melancholic, brooding sound. It may have already caught your eye, but you might notice that I'm practically wearing the album art for their 2012 release, Bloom. This was a record that truly opened me up and expanded me to, I guess, different sonic palettes. I started to experiment with more dream pop music that I was getting into, and I was actually sent the Needle Drops review of this album in late 2012. It's one of the first videos that I ever saw from Anthony Fantano, and it opened me up to, I guess, a lot of things there. Now that I think about it, I got into this album, Bloom, fell in love. I would dare say that it's one of my favorite albums of all time at this point. I love the luscious, dreamy scapes that they just build up, and that, along with Teen Dream, even some of their earlier works like Devotion, and the newer stuff as well, like they dropped 2 albums on us in 2015, Depression Cherry and Thank Your Lucky Stars, the latter of those being my favorite of the 2. They've just stayed really consistent over time, and obviously I was very excited going into their new album, and for whatever reason, I didn't hear the lead single when it came out. I follow the band on social media, don't have notifications on or anything like that, but it wasn't until Dive released that I actually knew that the band had a 7th album. To describe the sound of their new LP, I would say anticipate some of the sounds that they found in the past. They have by no means abandoned the dream pop stylings that got them popular and got a following for them in the first place. They've taken that and kind of fused it with a little bit of indie rock flair here, a little bit of dark electronics here, some other brooding sensations that you just might not see coming are sprinkled all throughout this record, and I really feel like the duo crafted something special here. Now, their live drummer that's been with them since 2016 actually drummed on the entire LP, so I found that to be interesting because he actually stuck with them in the studio and really, according to them, helped come up with some of the rhythm sections that totally hold down these tracks. If you're looking for examples of this sonic change that the band has taken, look no further than the first single that I heard, Dive. It truly is an immersing experience, and it's one that definitely builds in its intensity. It starts off with the vocals of Victoria Legrand, the lead singer of this duo. They're often kept low in the mix. Obviously, that goes kind of hand in hand with dream pop music, and I wouldn't say that that's changed, so you can definitely still hear those dream pop influences throughout this record and on this very song. But as this track goes on, that's where the hype builds for me, because you get this miscommunication that's being relayed in the track and the lyrics, and you see how a relationship is maybe faltering or else on pause because they can't figure things out. And then she says that she's going to dive to try to find this person, basically implying that they're lost somewhere in the middle of the sea. That's at least the picture that is painted for me mentally. And as this track goes on, then we hear those loud roaring guitars cut through. And then they layer another guitar line on top of that, and you hear those creaking organ keys that are in the background as well. They built up and swelled in the first part of the song, but all of these instruments come together in a storm in the second act, and it's truly fantastic. A magnificent song that I'm absolutely loving. The topic of aging is handled in a very graceful way on Drunken LA, and I love the captivating synth melodies and even the light guitar that's thrown in the mix in the background. I find the vocals to be a standout performance on this tune, and there was a line that really struck me on this one that she says towards the end. She said, "I would climb the Eiffel Tower, write letters to the sky." And the way that it comes across so vivid, it gives you a little mental image of exactly what she's talking about. And Beach House have always been so good at doing that. And lyrically, I would say that this record is pretty damn sharp. Like I said, on this tune, she's exploring aging, but as the record progresses, she also talks about feminism, empowerment for women, and just relationships, mixed signals, all of these other things, even societal issues, and just slight commentary here and there. It's not so over the top or dramatic that it just drowns the album in its political influences or anything like that. It's something that's more refined and restrained, but it's still there, and with Beach House, you always have to search in the layers. Lose Your Smile has some captivating vocal melodies. I love the acoustic guitar that they break out here as well, and that refrain, Lose Your Smile, just gets stuck in your head. It's gentle, but it sticks with you for some reason. And coming out of the track that came right before that, which is called Black Car, I was maybe expecting something a little bit more tense or a little bit darker, because that song Black Car is those things. It starts off with kind of a chilling synthesizer and just a glow to it that you wouldn't expect necessarily from Beach House, but the way it's executed is just precision to its finest. You know that they are great musicians, and the fact that they pull off a tune with no guitars and you don't even really notice its absence, that is musicianship, friends. And coming out of that, you go back into the brighter moment, Lose Your Smile, and then they go on another win streak by implementing some synthesizers on the song Woo, and this one lyrically might be one of their best on the LP. I will advise that this record 7 can take a few listens to truly sink into. It's something where you really have to get caught up and lose yourself in the experience. Put away distractions, that's Beach House in general. I always recommend just turning out the lights, putting on maybe your favorite music visualizer, or just sitting back and closing your eyes and letting the music overtake you. Beach House in general, especially for my viewers that maybe have never listened to them before, can be a very beautiful thing. And once again, the way that they carve out such textures and details on this new record by implementing new instruments and new arrangements and that sort of thing, it's something that I feel like it takes multiple listens to truly start to really latch on to it. With that being said, there are still moments that I don't care for as much. Pay No Mind is one of those. I feel like even though Victoria sounds great as always vocally on this track, and there are some captivating moments musically, I just don't find it to be as entertaining as so many of the songs around it. I think that Dark Spring opened up the record on a little bit of bombast with those theatric drums that just quickly pound away, and then it moves into a steady groove where you get lost in the aura. It's a great feeling. Then you move into Pay No Mind, and things I wouldn't say let you down. It just kind of eases off the gas pedal a little bit. And then we go into Lemon Glow. Maybe it's the placement of Pay No Mind, but still, I just feel like it kind of gets outweighed by its peers. Now with Lemon Glow, the first time that I heard this song, oh man, my mind was blown. This is a gorgeous track, and I mistakenly, like I said, took Dive as the lead single. That wasn't the case. That was Lemon Glow, and the first time that I played this, I was already in love. It was an automatic thing where I just processed those stuttered guitars that sound great. You just start to sway with the music, and you just lose yourself in it, and as soon as Victoria kicks in, and those guitars that flare up, it reminds me a little bit of the way that they were styled on Depression Cherry. It's a lush escape, and I love this song. I've played it over and over and over again. I've latched onto it big time, and I would be very surprised if this does not end up on my best songs of the year list. This leaves only one song left for me to talk about, but it's a mesmerizing one. It's sung about 50%, I would say, in French, and Victoria Legrand comes through big time on La Canoe. It's something that stands for the unknown in French. And if you didn't know already, Victoria was actually born in Paris, so it makes sense for her to really be tracing her roots here and be singing in French. Now, this one seems like it's very much empowered through sexuality, through just being a woman in general, and it comes through with a very captivating story, but at the same time, I find myself really getting lost in the trance of the music. There's a warp of synths, some other guitars in the background, and some other instruments that I can't even put a finger to because it's just a little bit more out there. But the experimentation definitely works in their favor, and those lush vocals once again come through in dream pop style, where they're a little bit in the bottom of the mix, but still, you find yourself paying attention to those big time. What can I say? Beach House come through once again on their 7th LP, 7. I highly recommend that you guys check this out. There's great songs from the more experimental ones, like I already mentioned, La Canoe, even Woo, and especially Black Car, to some that I think really any Beach House fan is automatically going to love, from Lemon Glow to Dive to Drunken LA, even the closing moment, which is really great, Last Ride, especially once it really kicks in in, and those guitars at the end of the track are kind of brutal, the way that they just roar to life. This album is full of moments that you're probably going to latch onto and absolutely love. I give this record a strong 4 out of 5. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please drop a like on the video while you're here, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future uploads. Consider supporting me on Patreon to help videos like this keep coming on a monthly basis on both of my channels. It's the annotation over in the corner of your screen, or else the top link down below. Other than that, you can see another beach house review right here, another recent one right over here that I think you might enjoy. All of my social media accounts can be found linked in the description, and other than that, I'll see you soon right here on ARTV for more.